In mid-June 2025, an announcement from Brazil sent ripples through global political and economic circles. Vietnam had officially been named the 10th partner country of BRICS. While the moment came without grand fanfare, its implications were anything but ordinary. Brazil, holding the rotating presidency of BRICS this year, made the designation public, placing Vietnam alongside strategic economies like Malaysia and Thailand, nations already tied into one of the most influential economic alliances shaping the future of the global South. This wasn't just another diplomatic handshake. It was a move steeped in strategy, signaling a recalibration of global alliances and elevating Vietnam's stature in international affairs. To understand the magnitude of Vietnam's entry, it's necessary to trace the arc of BRICS itself, a bloc that has undergone a dramatic transformation since its creation. What began in 2009 as a four-member coalition of Brazil, Russia, India, and China expanded just a year later to include South Africa. Over the past decade and a half, BRICS has grown from a loose group of emerging economies into a coordinated political and economic force, now encompassing 11 full member states and influencing everything from global trade to development finance. It was conceived as an answer to the dominance of Western-led institutions, offering a platform for the global South to assert agency, share resources, and collaborate on equal footing. The underlying goal? To build an economic and political counterweight to Western forums like the G7, and to create new financial ecosystems less tethered to the U.S. dollar and Western-centric frameworks. The group's evolution took another leap forward in 2024, when, during a high-stakes summit in Kazan, Russia, BRICS introduced the concept of partner countries. Unlike full membership, this model offers flexibility. Partner nations can attend major summits, participate in policy discussions, and access development programs, without being bound by the formal obligations of full members. It's a geopolitical tool of quiet effectiveness, a way to deepen cooperation, expand the bloc's influence, and draw in capable economies, all while preserving the core identity of BRICS itself. Before Vietnam joined, the partner roster already included Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Uganda, and Uzbekistan, each contributing a unique regional footprint. Vietnam's invitation, however, stands out. In its official statement, Brazil described Vietnam as a critical Asian actor committed to South-South cooperation and sustainable development. But this wasn't mere diplomatic courtesy. It was a recognition of hard-earned credibility. With a population approaching 100 million, and a reputation as one of Asia's most dynamic economies, Vietnam brings both scale and substance. Over the past decade, its economy has surged forward, powered by investor-friendly policies, macroeconomic stability, and deep integration into global trade networks. From semiconductors and electronics to textiles, green energy, and digital services, Vietnam has quietly become a cornerstone of global manufacturing. Its industrial capabilities are modern, diverse, and competitive, qualities that add immense value to BRICS as the bloc seeks deeper engagement in Southeast Asia. Strategically located at the crossroads of major maritime and trade corridors, Vietnam offers a geographic advantage that BRICS can't ignore. Its participation enhances the bloc's regional presence at a time when the Indo-Pacific is becoming a center of economic gravity and geopolitical friction. But perhaps the most compelling aspect of this development is how Vietnam has chosen to engage. Not as a full member, but as a partner, preserving its freedom to maneuver. This decision reflects Vietnam's long-standing foreign policy doctrine, often referred to as bamboo diplomacy, a metaphor for strength through flexibility. Just like bamboo, Vietnam bends but doesn't break. By entering BRICS as a partner rather than committing to full membership, Hanoi secures access to critical platforms, policy forums, financing instruments, and strategic dialogues, while retaining the autonomy to maintain strong ties with the United States, the European Union, Japan, and other key global players. It's a masterclass in diplomatic balance, embedding itself more deeply in the architecture of the global South while staying firmly connected to the West. This move also aligns with statements repeatedly made by Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, who has emphasized Vietnam's commitment to multilateralism, neutrality, and a rules-based international order. The country's position in BRICS complements its involvement in Western-linked economic and political frameworks, like the CPTPP, RCP, and various bilateral agreements. In essence, Vietnam is placing itself at the crossroads of global cooperation, ensuring that it remains an influential player no matter how global alliances evolve or economic power shifts. The practical benefits of this new partnership are already taking shape. As a BRICS partner, Vietnam now gains regular access to summits, ministerial conferences, and high-level economic dialogues. More importantly, it opens the door to the new development bank, NDB, BRICS's financial arm dedicated to funding infrastructure and sustainable development in emerging markets. For a country like Vietnam, ambitious, forward-looking, and infrastructure-hungry, this access is a game-changer. With national plans already targeting $120 billion in transport investment by 2030 and an aggressive push toward net zero emissions by 2050, NDB financing could fast-track projects in transportation, renewable energy, digital infrastructure, and urban development. But the value of the partnership doesn't stop at funding. BRICS countries, especially China and India, bring deep experience in high-speed rail, port construction, logistics networks, and smart city planning. These capabilities align perfectly with Vietnam's own development needs. As rapid urbanization continues to reshape Vietnamese cities, collaboration with BRICS on infrastructure could significantly improve urban mobility, efficiency, and resilience. Another area ripe for cooperation is green energy. Vietnam is already positioning itself as a future hub for solar, wind, and battery production. With the support of BRICS nations, it could accelerate its transition from coal-heavy energy sources to more sustainable alternatives. Access to shared technologies, joint ventures, and regional innovation networks could help Vietnam leapfrog some of the hurdles that have stalled other emerging economies in the energy transition. In the bigger picture, Vietnam's entry into BRICS as a partner country reflects a new chapter in global diplomacy, where mid-sized, strategically situated nations are no longer just bystanders but active shapers of the global agenda. The world is changing fast. Alliances are shifting, financial systems are diversifying, and the once clear lines between East and West are blurring. In this fluid geopolitical landscape, Vietnam has made a move that's both ambitious and calculated, one that enhances its global voice without sacrificing its autonomy. By stepping onto the BRICS stage, Vietnam isn't choosing sides, it's choosing relevance. Vietnam is rapidly emerging as a pivotal player in Southeast Asia's evolving geopolitical and economic landscape, carving out a role that balances strategic ambition with pragmatic flexibility. Already a leader in solar and wind energy capacity in the region, Vietnam's strong, long-term commitment to carbon reduction is not just an environmental imperative. It's also a signal to global partners that the country is ready to accelerate its green transition. This commitment is driving demand for advanced renewable technologies, smart grid systems, and next-generation energy storage solutions. Precisely the kinds of technologies in which BRICS members like China, India, and Russia have built significant capabilities and capital to invest. The opportunities for collaboration are both deep and broad. At the same time, Vietnam's technological landscape is transforming at breakneck speed. Its digital economy was valued at $23 billion in 2022 and is expected to more than double to $50 billion by 2025. This exponential growth is not occurring in isolation. It's embedded in a broader trend of digital modernization across sectors like fintech, e-commerce, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. These are sectors that thrive on international cooperation, knowledge transfer, and scalable innovation. Partnering with BRICS countries, particularly those with advanced tech ecosystems, opens pathways to co-develop platforms, share best practices, and build cyber-resilient digital infrastructure tailored to emerging market needs. But the relationship between Vietnam and BRICS nations goes beyond just economics and technology. It extends into people-to-people connections, tourism, cultural diplomacy, and education. Discussions are underway to ease visa processes, launch joint cultural programs, and establish more dynamic academic and technical exchange networks. Russia, for instance, has already increased the number of scholarships available to Southeast Asian students, while Vietnam is expanding its technical training programs, areas where joint BRICS involvement could amplify impact and reach. These soft power linkages help build trust and long-term familiarity, turning abstract alliances into tangible networks of cooperation. This strengthening of ties must also be understood within a wider regional context. Vietnam's approach mirrors a broader shift within ASEAN. Indonesia has already become a full BRICS member, and countries like Malaysia and Thailand are steadily deepening their partnerships with the bloc. What we are witnessing is a regional recalibration, a growing recognition among Southeast Asia's major economies that engaging with alternative governance structures, those not rooted in Western-led institutions, can be both strategic and advantageous. It's not about turning away from existing partnerships, but rather about expanding the playing field. As BRICS leaders gather in Rio de Janeiro to address global economic turbulence, from escalating trade protectionism to questions about the future of globalization, the growing relevance of the group cannot be overstated. Representing more than half of the world's population and around 40% of global economic output, BRICS is no longer a fringe coalition of emerging markets. It's a central node in the architecture of the global economy. Economic cooperation remains a key pillar, But increasingly, so does the appeal of increased diplomatic influence, access to new markets, and the political clout that comes with collective action. Still, not every ASEAN country is positioned the same way. Some, like the Philippines, with its formal security treaty with the United States and ongoing military cooperation, may hesitate to align too closely with BRICS due to geopolitical trade-offs. For these nations, the cost of deeper engagement might include diminished leverage with traditional allies. Vietnam, however, is walking a different path. Vietnam's alignment with BRICS is also deeply symbolic. As a nation with a proud history of anti-colonial struggle, a successful post-war recovery, and a track record of market reforms without sacrificing political sovereignty, Vietnam offers a compelling counter-narrative to the Western development model. It proves that a country can transform itself economically without wholesale dependence on institutions like the IMF or World Bank. That story resonates across the global South, particularly among countries searching for models of self-directed, independent development. In that sense, Vietnam's participation aligns seamlessly with BRICS's broader vision of a multipolar world, where power, resources, and influence are not monopolized by a few dominant players. Geography also enhances Vietnam's strategic value. Situated at the heart of Asia-Pacific trade corridors, it serves as a natural bridge connecting East Asia, South Asia, and the Pacific. This location gives Vietnam the unique ability to tie BRICS initiatives into other major economic frameworks, such as China's Belt and Road Initiative and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. With the possibility of BRICS expanding its financial cooperation, especially initiatives to reduce dependence on the U.S. dollar in international settlements, Vietnam's geographic and logistical relevance will only grow more prominent in the coming years. But this realignment is happening in a world where competition between great powers is intensifying. The global order is being reconfigured, with emerging economies seeking more agency, and traditional powers recalibrating their influence. Vietnam's decision to engage with BRICS is best seen as a deliberate strategy to diversify partnerships, access new sources of capital and technology, and enhance its global presence, without having to pick sides in the deepening divide between the U.S. and China. This is not about replacing old alliances with new ones. It's about building resilience through multiplicity. Vietnam remains a committed member of various global trade frameworks, including CPTPP, IPEF, and RCEP. This diversified economic diplomacy ensures that Vietnam retains access to Western and non-Western markets alike, maintaining flexibility and strategic autonomy. Looking forward, Vietnam has set ambitious targets for national development. The country aims to achieve industrialized upper-middle income status by 2030 and to become a high-income nation by 2045. Realizing these goals will require not only domestic reform, but also substantial international support in the form of technology transfer, infrastructure investment, and market integration. This is where BRICS can become a transformative partner. Through channels such as the New Development Bank and joint innovation initiatives, Vietnam can access financial and technical resources without relying solely on traditional Western lenders. These partnerships could enhance Vietnam's energy security, raise agricultural productivity, boost digital infrastructure, and help deliver the ambitious socio-economic outcomes. Ultimately, Vietnam's move to strengthen ties with BRICS represents a carefully calibrated step in a fast-changing world. It is a strategy grounded in realism, ambition, and long-term thinking. Rather than submitting to the binaries of global geopolitics, Vietnam is choosing to broaden its options, deepen its influence, and help shape the evolving rules of global engagement. Its growing involvement in BRICS is being closely watched, not only across Asia, but in decision-making centers worldwide, as a potential blueprint for how emerging economies can pursue growth, stability, and independence on their own terms. It is a decision that reflects both boldness and restraint, signaling Vietnam's desire to remain at the forefront of global transformation, while maintaining balance in an increasingly polarized era. The real question now is how this deepening partnership will translate into measurable outcomes over the next decade. Will it accelerate infrastructure development? Will it enhance Vietnam's influence in regional politics? Will it open up new trade corridors linking Southeast Asia to emerging markets in Africa and Latin America? These answers will not come immediately, but they will unfold steadily, shaped by decisions made today. What is certain is that Vietnam's entry into closer cooperation with BRICS is more than just a policy shift. It may well be a defining move in the country's long game of balancing global power, fostering resilience, and asserting a sovereign path in the 21st century.